Did you know that one NBA star changed the entire sneaker game? I'm talking about Dwyane Wade, a player who not only walked away from the biggest names in basketball shoes, but actually created his own legacy in the process. Imagine leaving a brand like Jordan to sign with a Chinese sneaker company, a bold move that shocked the world at the time. But what Wade started set off a chain reaction. And now, top athletes like Nikola, Jokić, and Kyrie Irving are following suit, showing that these once overlooked Chinese brands are now serious contenders in the sneaker world. So how did this all happen? And what does it mean for the future of sneaker endorsements in the NBA? Stick around, because what's coming next will change the way you think about sneaker deals forever. When Dwyane Wade first entered the NBA, he was already a star in the making, but the story of his sneaker journey started with a brand that was trying to stay relevant in a market dominated by Nike, Adidas, and Reebok. In 2003, Wade signed with Converse, a brand that, while still iconic, was struggling to hold its ground in the basketball world. For a moment, it seemed like he might help bring them back. His first signature shoe, the Wade 1, had a shark-inspired design, Miami colorways, and a unique appeal. It was a hit, even drawing attention outside the basketball community. Converse followed up with 4 more signature models, betting big on Wade to help them reclaim their spot at the top. But as time went on, the situation began to shift. By 2009, the brand's downfall became undeniable. The Wade 4, his final shoe with Converse, didn't land as well as the earlier models, and Wade himself wasn't happy with the design or fit. By then, Wade was at a crossroads. He realized that staying with Converse wasn't the right move for his future. So in 2009, he made the bold decision to leave Converse and sign with Jordan Brand, the powerhouse of basketball endorsements. It seemed like a logical choice at the time. Wade was the face of a legacy brand, wearing iconic Jordans on the court. But this wasn't the end of Wade's journey. In fact, it was just the beginning. What came next would change the sneaker game forever. By 2012, Dwyane Wade was a global superstar, cemented as one of the top players in the NBA. He had conquered the basketball world and found himself at a crossroads again. But this time, the decision wasn't just about what brand to wear. Wade shocked everyone when he left Jordan Brand, the king of basketball endorsements, and signed with Li-Ning, a Chinese sneaker company. At first, it seemed like a risky, almost unthinkable move. After all, no major NBA star had ever walked away from the top brands to sign with a Chinese company. It was a gamble, but Wade didn't just see it as a financial deal. He saw it as an opportunity to create something entirely new. The contract came with its own identity, Way of Wade. This wasn't just a one-off endorsement deal. Wade was given creative control, allowing him to shape the direction of the brand, design his own sneakers, and even recruit other players to join the movement. Wade wasn't just endorsing a product, he was building his own lane within the sneaker industry. This was the first time a major NBA star left a legacy brand to create a personal brand of his own, one that was focused on design, collaboration, and innovation, rather than simply wearing a shoe. At the time, the move felt bold, almost rebellious. Wade was stepping away from the comfort of the Jordan legacy to partner with a brand most NBA fans didn't even consider a contender. But it was this leap of faith that changed the landscape of sneaker deals, particularly with Chinese brands. Wade had shown that a player could have more than just a logo. They could have ownership, creative freedom, and a true voice in the sneaker industry. When Dwyane Wade made the bold move to Li-Ning in 2012, it signaled a massive shift in the sneaker industry. At that time, Chinese brands were viewed as secondary, niche options for NBA players, far from the influence of Nike and Adidas. But Wade's decision changed that narrative. He wasn't just signing with a lesser-known brand, he was creating something new. The Way of Wade line became more than just shoes. It became a statement, with Wade having unprecedented creative control over the designs. This autonomy wasn't available with American brands, marking Li-Ning as a serious contender in the market. Wade's move was just the beginning. Other players started taking notice. In 2014, Klay Thompson signed with Anta, another Chinese brand. While still small globally, Anta offered Thompson his own signature line, the KT series, and by 2017, his deal had grown into a massive 10-year extension worth up to $80 million. This partnership helped to legitimize Chinese sneaker brands as key players in the global market. Wade's departure from Jordan and his subsequent success with Li-Ning laid the foundation for a new era in basketball sneakers. It demonstrated that creative control, better financial deals, and unique opportunities could be more valuable than the traditional paths dominated by the American giants. No longer considered off-brand, Chinese companies were now seen as a viable, legitimate alternative. As more NBA stars like Klay Thompson and Jimmy Butler signed with Chinese brands, the sneaker landscape began shifting unexpectedly. These these brands weren't just hoping to succeed, they were actively preparing for the future. They invested in design teams, opened flagship stores, and hired US representatives, ensuring their products would compete with and even surpass Western brands. By 2022, Anta had overtaken Nike in China, becoming the second largest sportswear company in the country. Globally, they were climbing the ranks, fiercely competing with Adidas and Puma. These brands stood out by focusing on basketball culture, offering players like Thompson and Butler full control over their signature lines. The athletes had real input on design, giving them ownership and a true stake in their brands. Crucially, these brands recognized the power of the Asian market, especially China, where they had a massive following. They didn't rely solely on the US for revenue, but leveraged the growing basketball culture in China to build global recognition. The success of players with Li-Ning and Anta transformed these brands from niche players into global forces, proving that Chinese sneaker brands were not just an alternative, but a serious contender in the sneaker industry. Players weren't just endorsing shoes, they were reshaping the game on their own terms. In recent years, the sneaker industry has witnessed a major shift in the balance of power between athletes and brands. Unlike the past, where players were treated as mere endorsers, Chinese sneaker brands have turned the tables by giving athletes real creative control. These brands allow athletes to not only wear shoes, but also build their own lines, influence designs, and have a voice in product development. This new era of player empowerment was solidified when Kyrie Irving made the bold decision to leave Nike and sign with Anta in 2022. After years of frustration and feeling boxed in by Nike, Kyrie didn't just join Anta as an athlete, he became their chief creative officer. This was a groundbreaking role, offering him full ownership of his shoe line, something no other major brand had ever offered him before. For the first time, Kyrie had the freedom to create a shoe that truly reflected his style and personality. Kyrie's move set a powerful precedent. It made it clear that Chinese brands were not just places to get paid, but opportunities to create something meaningful. This level of empowerment aligns with the growing trend of athletes as entrepreneurs, using their platforms to build legacies beyond the court. The first major star to break ground was Dwyane Wade, with his partnership with Li-Ning, where he launched the Way of Wade line. His success showed that Chinese brands could offer more than just endorsement deals. They could offer ownership. This opened the floodgates for other players to seize similar opportunities, reshaping the sneaker industry. Over the last decade, Chinese sneaker brands like Li-Ning, Anta, and Peak have transformed from local players to global contenders in the sportswear industry. Initially focused on the Chinese market, these brands began making waves internationally with a blend of local focus and strategic investment. One key to their success has been their ability to localize products to meet the specific needs of their audience. Li-Ning, for example, became a powerhouse in China by designing shoes tailored to Chinese athletes' needs, fostering a strong loyalty base among local players. As these brands began gaining traction at home, they set their sights on global expansion. Anta's growth has been particularly notable, with high-profile signings like Klay Thompson and Jimmy Butler, and the acquisition of Fila. Anta positioned itself as a major global player. The company has also developed its own signature lines, emphasizing player input and unique designs. This allowed Anta to gain significant market share in China while also expanding in the US. The turning point came when Anta became one of the largest sportswear companies in the world, ranking just behind Nike and Adidas. Their emphasis on basketball culture and faster product development cycles allowed them to connect with athletes and fans globally. With their athlete-driven design process and commitment to basketball culture, Chinese brands are no longer seen as cheap knockoffs. They are redefining the industry, offering creative control and better deals than traditional brands. These brands have proven that their influence isn't just limited to China, it's becoming a global force, challenging the established sneaker giants. As Chinese sneaker brands like Li-Ning and Anta have grown, they've sparked a noticeable shift in how athletes approach brand partnerships. Unlike the traditional path, where athletes were eager to sign with Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour, Chinese companies have been offering a different deal: creative control, equity stakes, and long-term partnerships. Take Kyrie Irving's move to Anta, for instance. When Kyrie left Nike, many expected him to join another major Western brand, but instead, he made a bold move to Anta, not just as a player, but as their chief creative officer. This partnership marked a new era where athletes had more say in design and product direction. Kyrie wasn't just wearing shoes anymore. He was actively shaping the entire basketball line for Anta, pushing the boundaries of what an athlete's role in product creation could be. This move wasn't just about money. For Kyrie, it was about identity. He had been vocal about feeling boxed in by the limitations at Nike, and at Anta, he found the freedom to build his own vision. His first signature shoe under Anta, designed with his input, was a direct reflection of his personal style and needs. This type of freedom had never been available to athletes in the past. As more players see the success of these non-traditional partnerships, it's clear Chinese brands are not just a fallback option anymore. They're offering better deals, creative freedom, and ownership opportunities that many athletes see as a path to empowerment. This marks the beginning of a new trend, where athletes are no longer just endorsing products, they are actively shaping their own brands. And as more players embrace this shift, the future of basketball footwear will be defined by athletes as creators, not just endorsers. As we look toward the future, the impact of Chinese sneaker brands is undeniable. The movement sparked by Dwyane Wade, Jokić, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, and Kyrie Irving has laid the foundation for what could become a paradigm shift in how athletes approach their brand partnerships. The new wave of athlete-driven brands is not just about endorsing shoes, it's about ownership, creativity, and long-term collaboration. Brands like Li-Ning, Anta, and 361 are no longer just competing for market share in China. They're aiming for a global footprint. These brands offer athletes creative freedom, which has been a key selling point for stars like Kyrie Irving, who has become a chief creative officer with Anta. In return, these athletes get to shape their own signature lines, design footwear that reflects their personal style, and most importantly, own a stake in the brand's growth. The growth of these companies is not just about higher paychecks, it's about empowerment and legacy. They are reshaping the market by collaborating with athletes to create shoes and apparel that actually compete with the industry's biggest players. While the US brands have been pushing for bigger profits and limited editions, Chinese brands are focusing on athletes' needs and creating products with faster turnaround times. Players are not just seen as endorsements, but partners, making decisions from product design to marketing strategy. The future is clear. Athletes and Chinese brands are writing the next chapter in sportswear, one that is far more collaborative and global than ever before. And as the athletes take more control of their brands, it's only a matter of time before a rookie player makes a game-changing choice to sign with Anta or Li-Ning first, forever changing the landscape of athlete-endorsed footwear. Finally, we can say that the shift in the sneaker industry is undeniable. Athletes like Dwyane Wade, Jokić, and Kyrie Irving have proven that Chinese brands aren't just a backup, they're a powerful alternative to the big players in the market. With creative control, ownership, and a global vision, the future of athlete-endorsed brands is brighter than ever. Now, what do you think about this shift in the sneaker game, my friends? Do you think more stars will follow suit and sign with Chinese brands? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA's insights, my friend.